Hello there, welcome. It's Samuel Larsen here, and I happen to know that many of you are struggling with picking colors to your websites and kind of like creating that really nice flow between different sections. Definitely mostly on the landing pages, but also within your e-commerce pages and general website pages. So this is most applicable to landing page and mostly long form landing pages, because you are often having to explain things with different sections. And with long form landing pages, what you get is different explanation sections, and you need to create a nice flow between those sections. So having colors that work well together is very useful for that. And I'm going to show you a tool and also a couple of examples of a really great explanation and execution of different colors and how you can play together with them and create something that is really engaging. So this is how you basically pick relevant colors that worked well together for your site. Now, you want to be breaking the pattern in your site a little bit, and the point of this is to add novelty. So there is this nice flow to the page, but there is still new things. So if you would think like, what would be the ultimate flow? It would be the same thing repeated over and over again, right? But that is also boring, and boring is not engaging. So we need to find a balance. Now, with novelty, it creates attention, and we need attention for people to read through, and we need them to read through to get them to take action. So here's our first example, and I'm just viewing this in a tablet size, but you can see when I scroll down the page how there is a nice flow to everything on this landing page. So it's a great landing page, one of my favorites, and it just illustrates the point. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down the page, and right away we can see that there is a little bit of a different section here. So this is gray, this is lighter gray, and then we're back to pretty much the same gray. Okay, so here they are talking about the product, they're talking about the customer, and then they're talking about the product, and then they're talking about the customer. And of course we cannot pick that up like without actually analyzing the page, but people are like subconscious animals, so to say, like, so they will pick it up and it will actually make sense to people on like the non-thinking level of the brain. All right, here we're back to the gray again, and you can just see that it's the gray-white theme. Now, a great thing with this is that it is actually pretty simple to understand. So you get this consistency with the page. And I'm going to show you an example very soon that is a bit opposite, but also works. Okay, so here we have, notice here we don't break it again, because this is also a consistency thing. So here it might become too heavy if it's always breaking up and like changing colors. So that's a lot of stimulus, and we don't want them to be overly stimulated. So this is the page here basically. Okay, so they went for a pretty completely opposite coloring here. So if you think about it, the difference between this color and this color is actually pretty big. But it still works because they're not overusing it. So that's why they can get away with it, even though there is black and white, and it basically looks like a page is going to end at any point. Alright, so that's one example of a really nicely played around simple landing page background colors. Alright, but you want the combination of colors to work well together, especially if you are using multiple colors. So in our next example, we are using a lot of colors, and we have this effect where the page is really flowing. But notice here, as opposed to the last example, we are actually using very similar colors. So the color theme doesn't change that much, but it is still very visible that the sections are changing. Okay, so let's take a look and scroll down here. So here we can see we have a little bit of blue, tiny change, tiny change. Okay, and white is actually not that big of a change. Here we have a big change, but it's only for a very short section. So you're most likely like going to just scroll a little bit more, and then you can see this is just stimulating. It's not that intense. Okay, and similar to the other page, we have a little bit of a longer white section here, and then we are changing the color again to capture attention and keep that novelty effect going. So it's another long form landing page that takes the customer through the buying journey, so to say. Okay, and they decided to have their call to action here on the very end. Notice how the call to action button, by the way, it is completely different from the rest of the page. Here again, you know, it's really designed to stand out. All right, so a nice little page here, and it really works well together. So they have thought it through. All right, so you want to create something similar to this, learn from the best, but how do you really pick the relevant colors for you based on either your product or your like vision, maybe your logo or something like this? Now, what you could do is get one of these typical color charts that has this like what types of colors are good for different sites. And while you can follow this a little bit, and it's definitely something you need to know if you are to get really good results with your design, if you want to turn pro, so to say, you have to know what blue, for example, means. And this is actually something I ended up using in my logo because it creates trust and security, and it has association for banks and businesses. So that was a great addition for me. But every single niche and product landing page is different. So maybe you want to have a feminine color like they used to have here. So all depends on the case. Now, this is a little bit of a tricky thing because some of you will have a product, for example, that is somewhat popular, or the people know already when they're coming to the page that this product has these colors, for example. And on that case, you definitely want to have that visual confirmation that they are on the right place. And for that, using a so-called color wheel can be a great thing. So I'm going to show you with a product on how this works and how you can then use this to pick those colors. Alright, so what I'm going to do is simply upload a photo here. So create from image, and I already found this image here. So it is some kind of organic product with natural things. Alright, and on the label it is fairly bluish with a little bit of green and some white here. So that gives us some kind of an idea. We probably wouldn't want to go completely opposite. So let's say we wouldn't want to go black or purple or something like that. It would be just inconsistent. It would look bizarre, weird. So what we're going to do is play around with a little bit here. So we have different color moods, and Right now it's colorful, so colorful basically means we're picking different colors. However, like we mentioned here on this page, it's way better to have some kind of consistency and also not to overwhelm, because a good design, it does get people to read, but at the same time it's almost unnoticeable. And we don't want to be heroes as designers. We just want to get the job done, and the job is to get people to read. So this is why I would probably go for something like this. This is the muted option, and actually it's very similar to this, since they happen to be blue products as well. But depending on how I would like to present, maybe I would like to go a little bit darker, a little bit wider, something like this, and that's possible. I'll show you soon as well how to really do this, but it's not really a tutorial on this tool, so I'm going to show you different things. All right, so what you want to avoid is colors that really clash with each other, so that's why I would prefer this kind of like muted, safe approach. And for this, you can then click on the color wheel and start seeing and editing these colors a little bit. So let's say we want to get this color a little bit maybe darker, then we can pick out the RGB and hex from here. All right, and this is something that is also pretty difficult to see from the tool itself. So that's why you would really have to either go wireframe or design on this. And the good news is, if you are doing PSD designs, it's really easy to change the colors and play around with that. And it's something definitely worthy of doing. Okay, so once we see our different colors here, let's say we don't have products and we just want to play around with it a little bit, then we can see based on different rules, and what we want to avoid is the opposite color. So with the color wheel, blue doesn't really go well with yellow, although yellow stands a lot from blue. Again, remember this, all the call to actions are yellow, and it stands out from the blue. Let's say this was a yellow site, maybe you would want to use a blue call to action. So something to play around with, and something to keep in mind. Again, the goal is to get people to read, so with the colors, don't be the hero, just make it work. All right, I hope this was helpful, and hope you will be able to create landing pages that are a little bit better from now on, and make it also really engaging for all of your visitors. And make these colors work together. Don't go overboard, just pick 3 or 4 maximum, and you're good to go. All right, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.